Have you ever spent money or other resources on something you didn't fully understand, only to end up with losses? Whether it's searching for a job, renting an apartment, buying mutual funds, purchasing a house, starting a business, or even just buying a phone or computer, I believe everyone has experienced setbacks or even been scammed in certain areas. Many of these experiences stem from acting blindly outside our circle of competence, which often leads to unfavorable outcomes. In everyday life, we inevitably encounter fields we're not familiar with, yet sometimes we are forced to make decisions and choices within them. As someone who once worked in the legal field, I've seen many cases where people suffered losses because they acted beyond their circle of competence. It's precisely because of these issues that I decided to share today's mental model with you. The Circle of Competence Theory, proposed by Charlie Munger. In this video, we'll explore the boundaries of our individual circles of competence, how to establish, maintain, and expand them, and what to do when something falls outside our competence. Using a combination of books and personal research, I'll guide you on a journey to explore and build your own circle of competence. The circle of competence was originally a term from the fields of economics and investing. It refers to the range within which a person or organization can accurately understand a specific domain or master a particular skill. The theory emphasizes investing only within your knowledge base and avoiding industries or businesses beyond your understanding. Simply put, it means you should only invest in what you understand and steer clear of what you don't. Avoid chasing market trends or panic selling. This investment theory also applies to our personal lives. Don't blindly follow the crowd and engage in things you don't understand. However, this raises an important question. What exactly qualifies as something you don't understand? Here's where I'd like to ask you a question. Do you think people generally tend to overestimate or underestimate their abilities? In his talk on The Psychology of Human Misjudgment, Munger referenced a Swedish study where 90% of drivers rated their driving skills as being in the top 50%. This means many people are inclined to overestimate their abilities. This phenomenon is linked to the psychological concept known as the Dunning-Kruger effect. Psychologists David Dunning and Justin Kruger found through experiments that people who score the lowest on competence tests tend to overestimate their abilities, while those who score the highest tend to underestimate theirs. This can be summed up as, if you're incompetent, you won't know you're incompetent. In reality, we often see that the less people know, the more confident they are, simply because they're unaware of what they don't know. These individuals are also the easiest to deceive. Of course, there's another scenario where we have some awareness of our abilities, but it's not entirely clear. This creates a gray area. When decisions fall into this gray area, we're more likely to act overconfidently and recklessly. Therefore, when we need to make important decisions, the first step is to identify the boundaries of our competence. Based on these boundaries, we can decide whether to take immediate action or pause to learn, investigate, and seek help. A good way to achieve this is by performing a circle of competence test. Start by writing down the decision you need to make, such as buying a house, purchasing a car, investing in a stock, or considering a career change or major switch. Next, ask yourself these questions in sequence. First, what is the purpose or reason behind this decision? You'll find that this seemingly simple question can sometimes be hard to answer rationally. For instance, a follower once asked me whether they should pursue a master's degree. I asked them, "What's your purpose for pursuing graduate school? What role does it play in your life plan?" They admitted they didn't really know and were simply influenced by their peers and family's suggestions. If you find that your decision's purpose is based on irrational thoughts or external influences, you should pause and clarify the problem you're trying to solve and the goal you want to achieve. I wasn't suggesting that this follower shouldn't pursue graduate school. Rather, they should understand their own goals before making such a big decision. Pursuing a graduate degree could take 3 to 5 years from preparation to graduation, so the stakes are high, and it's crucial to think rationally about the purpose. The second step is to consider the challenges and risks you might face in achieving this goal. Let's say you've identified a clear and rational purpose, such as wanting to change jobs for career growth. Next, list all the potential challenges and pitfalls you might encounter. Write down everything you can think of: initial difficulties adjusting, navigating the career transition period, managing financial pressures after resigning, or whether the timing of your resignation is appropriate. Here's where it gets counterintuitive. The fewer challenges you can identify, the smaller your circle of competence might be in this area. According to the Dunning-Kruger effect, the less you know, the less aware you are of the problems you might face. On the other hand, someone more skilled in this area can identify more factors and considerations. Even if they don't yet have solutions for all of them, they at least have a clearer direction, which helps them avoid pitfalls. As Munger famously said in Poor Charlie's Almanac, "I just want to know where I'm going to die, so I'll never go there." Have you ever found yourself unable to identify any potential risks or issues when making a decision? Everything might seem fine on the surface, but that's exactly when you need to be extra cautious and do more research. The next step, step 3, is to list at least 3 different ways to achieve your goal. Most problems have multiple solutions, and it's rare to encounter a situation where there is only one possible way forward. Just like step 2, people who are more skilled in a certain field tend to have multiple options for achieving the same goal. For example, a lawyer handling a contract dispute might present their client with several approaches: continuing to fulfill the contract, pursuing remedial measures, invoking penalty clauses, claiming liquidated damages, or even holding the other party accountable for tort liability in cases of contractual breaches. The more options available, the easier it is to weigh and compare them to find the optimal solution, maximizing the benefits of the decision. How to scientifically evaluate and weigh these options is a topic we'll cover in a future video. For now, understand that if you can only think of one solution to a problem, your circle of competence is likely quite limited. Don't rush into making a decision. Overall, if you can't adequately answer the 3 questions we've discussed, your focus should shift from making a decision to expanding your circle of competence. Now, let's talk about how to build, maintain, and expand your circle of competence. Earlier, we mentioned the importance of staying within your circle when making decisions, and some of you might wonder if that limits personal growth. In reality, staying within your circle doesn't mean it's static, because the world is constantly changing, and so are our circles of competence. The key principle to expanding your circle is to engage in rapid, feedback-driven learning. In software development, there's a concept called Agile development, which emphasizes short iterative cycles to deliver updated versions of software to clients, obtain feedback, and make improvements. Traditional industries often have much longer product iteration cycles. For example, it can take years for a new car model to be released, and even high-tech products like computers or phones only get annual upgrades. Software, on the other hand, can be updated monthly, weekly, or even daily. Products that quickly incorporate user feedback often outperform the competition. Consider this: if Team A updates its product once a month, but Team B updates weekly, by the end of the year, Team A would have iterated 12 times, while Team B would have iterated 52 times. Unsurprisingly, Team B's product would likely dominate. Personal growth and development follow a similar pattern. While we can learn through life experience, our time and energy are limited, so growth tends to be slow. Challenges and problems, however, won't wait for our circles of competence to expand. They'll often show up outside our current abilities, forcing us to make decisions. When faced with such challenges, we have 2 choices: recklessly push forward and risk failure, or quickly learn, investigate, and resolve the issue efficiently. To address the conflict between our limited personal experience and the complexity of current problems, we must learn from others through books and their experiences. This approach can dramatically increase our efficiency. Simply put, the faster you learn, the better your chances of seizing opportunities and solving problems in time. From starting my first business in college to where I am now, I've faced countless challenges and problems outside my circle of competence. However, Through efficient learning and research during key moments, I turned these problems into opportunities for growth instead of setbacks. Over time, I've developed a method for handling such situations, which I call the problem iteration model. First, when faced with challenges outside your circle of competence, you must quickly grasp the basics of the specific field to build your knowledge framework. In a future video, I'll share tips on how to effectively use the internet to learn. For now, remember that when learning about a new field quickly, the knowledge you gain will mostly be foundational, readily available from books or online resources. Compared to experts in the field, what you know will still be very limited. I've seen people who, after learning a bit about the law, overconfidently tried to solve legal issues on their own, only to suffer significant losses. It's crucial to stay humble and cautious. The second step is upgrading and iterating your problems. When we're new to a field, our questions tend to be vague and general. For instance, a beginner basketball player might wonder, how can I get better at basketball? This is a very broad question. But as you learn and practice, your questions become more specific and advanced, such as, how should I position myself for a rebound? Or, how do I observe my teammates' positions to make better passes? Or, how can I improve my shooting accuracy from different spots on the court? These more detailed questions reflect the boundaries of your circle of competence. Upgrading and iterating your questions help make your circle clearer and provide direction for expanding it. After basic knowledge acquisition, you'll find that many of your initial doubts are resolved. At this stage, new questions will emerge that may push your circle to its limits. That's when the third step becomes essential, seeking advice from someone you trust who is highly skilled in the field. Asking for advice might sound straightforward, something we've been doing since childhood with parents and teachers. However, the way we approach it often has significant flaws. One common mistake is asking questions without upgrading or iterating them first. For example, a follower once messaged me saying they wanted to start a business and asked how to register a company. My response was honest. If you have to ask me how to register a company, I strongly suggest you don't start a business because you lack the basic skills of learning, investigating, and taking action. Entrepreneurship could be a bad idea for you. Without preliminary learning and research, questions tend to be overly general. Some people prefer to ask questions at this stage to avoid doing their homework and directly get an answer. This lazy approach often leads to superficial knowledge and unresolved problems. However, if you've upgraded and refined your questions, the process of seeking advice becomes much more valuable. Not only can you get closer to understanding how skilled people approach and think about the problem, but you can also learn their thought processes. This is far more beneficial than simply getting an answer. Therefore, before seeking advice, make sure you've iterated on your question at least once. The second thing to remember is to critically analyze the advice you receive and assess whether it's truly applicable to your situation. Even in areas you're skilled in, you may encounter aspects you don't fully understand. Challenges aren't obstacles, they're opportunities for growth. When faced with new problems, our circle of competence is often tested. By applying a structured, systematic approach, you can learn far more than you would during normal times. I hope today's two systems have helped you understand how to build, maintain, and expand your circle of competence. I'm Pink Woody, new YouTuber passionate about sharing knowledge. See you in the next video.